Hi, just a quick video about this that's come to my attention today. Hackers trace ISIS Twitter accounts back to internet addresses linked to the Department of Work and Pensions. That's the DWP, okay? Islamic State supporters' social media accounts are being run from internet addresses linked to the Department of Work and Pensions. A group of 4 young computer experts who called themselves Van der Sek have unearthed evidence indicating that at least 3 ISIS supporting accounts can be traced back to the DWP. Every computer and mobile phone logs onto the internet using an IP address, which is a type of identification number. The hacking collective showed Mirror Online details of the IP addresses used by a trio of separate digital jihadis to access Twitter accounts which have been used to spread extremist propaganda. At first glance, the IP addresses seem to be based in Saudi Arabia, but on further inspection using specialist tools, they appear to link back to the DWP. Van der Sek's work has sparked wild rumours suggesting someone inside the DWP is running ISIS-supporting accounts, or they were created by intelligence services as a honeypot to trap wannabe jihadis. However, when Mirror Online traced the IP address obtained by Van der Sek, we found they actually pointed to a series of unpublicised transactions between Britain and Saudi Arabia. We learned that the British government sold on a large number of IP addresses to 2 Saudi Arabian firms. After the sale completed in October of this year, they were used by extremists to spread their messages of hate. Jamie Turner, an expert from a firm called PCA Predict, discovered a record of the sale of IP addresses and found a large number were transferred to Saudi Arabia in October of this year. He told us it was likely the IP addresses could still be traced back to the DWP because records of the addresses had not yet been fully updated. The Cabinet Office has now admitted to selling the IP addresses to Saudi Telecom and Saudi-based mobile telecommunications company earlier this year as part of a wider drive to get rid of a large number of the DWP's IP addresses. You know, this again follows on from my recent video, Treason may control the internet, which I have shown, given evidence, just a little bit of evidence, which I know because I've done the research, is supported by a whole heap of evidence. You know, you could do a 3-hour video really just showing the evidence of how Britain and ISIS and Zionists and Saudis, you know, collectively they are the Daesh, in the Inhumanes. That's what they are. They're a union of Inhumanes. And it really doesn't matter what faith or nationality or gender or class they are. All of them are united in their stance against human rights, and that's as much as we need to know. Because if people are standing against our human rights on whatever level, whether they're standing against children's rights or women's rights, they're standing against human rights. And human rights do include animal, earth and plant rights as well, because humans care about those. True humans. And so anything that damages the life of our planet is against our human rights. To live with justice and dignity and respect. And, you know, this is just more evidence of the way in which we are being controlled. And, you know, there are whole offices full of people who are dedicated, paid to full-time troll the internet, and they make it look as though, you know, something's really popular, and really they're out there to discredit people, anybody who appears like a threat. And sometimes they'll do it very covertly. They'll make friends with people, and they'll make friends with people who are friends online with somebody who they consider a threat. So rather than directly attack that person, what they'll do is they'll like befriend other people who are friends of that person, and then they'll send them covert messages, you know, discrediting that other person behind their back. And so 9 times out of 10 that person won't know that there's rumours going around about them, that, oh, you know, they're secretly working for MI5, or I'd be careful of her, or blah blah blah. You know, these are the kind of things that they do. And there is a war on for our mind. There really is. And we do need to understand that. We do need to understand that the agenda right now is to get Britain, to turn Britain into Israel-Palestine. That is the agenda. And if they can't get people turned against Muslims, you know, get them turned against immigrants, get them turned against the unemployed, sick and disabled, anybody except the real enemy, the Zionist bankers, who are controlling this whole world. And it's time for us to take control. And you know, one of my Facebook friends recently put a post up saying what we're going to do if it doesn't work out on Thursday, you know, which meaning what we're going to do if Theresa May gets back in. And I said revolt. And so somebody said underneath that, so what does that mean exactly? And I says, well, do in Iceland. And they replied, never going to happen here, mate. And I said, yeah, no, it never will happen here with that attitude. It's what I've been hearing all my life. Oh, waste of time doing anything. Nothing's ever going to change. You know, absolute, total self-defeatism born of what? Cognitive dissonance, which is itself born of apathy. Is it that difficult to stand up for your rights? You know, the people of Iceland did it, didn't they? They turned around, they said to their government, sorry mate, no, we are not going to put our children and every future generation in debt to paying the criminal debts of bankers who've committed fraud, theft, every kind of crime, and earned how many profits from it, which have all been ferreted away to the offshore tax havens. And now they expect us, we the people, to be in debt forever, to cover, you know, to pay their debt. And that's what they've done to Britain. They've done it to America. They've done it to all of Europe. And then you've got, you know, one of Donald Trump's team, Mick Mulvaney, telling the American people that welfare and Medicare is a form of theft. You know, you really couldn't make it up, could you? From people who've just crashed the banking system. They're so greedy and so disgustingly criminal. They've got so little care and concern, so little sense of responsibility, so little respect for even their own humanity, that they've crashed the banking system, left billions of people in, you know, destitute. The destitute made even more destitute. The people who were reasonably comfortably off, driven to living in their cars. And what for? All to pay their debt. Their debt. And then they've got the nerve to turn around and say that welfare and Medicare is a form of theft, because there's only them lot now got enough money to pay any taxes. Because ordinary working people can't even earn enough without relying on government handouts as well to help with the rent. Or working people queuing up at food banks. And I just... how long can it go on? You know, and Britain, it really is a horrible place. You know, I am having a lot of problems with British people. They're so judgmental and just so... what can I say? You're just dealing with a facade all the time. A facade, and being kept at arm's length, basically. You know, don't touch my heart. And, you know, I can't blame them, because that is what our society does. It's just so... it's so horrible. People are just so cruel to each other, so callous, so lacking compassion, lacking empathy, lacking, you know, understanding. They don't even want to understand. It's like they don't even want to talk about things. It is like being in a spiritual, emotional and psychological jail. That's all I can say. You know, there's very, very few people that I feel truly at ease with. And, you know, a lot of people they just offend me. They don't, just because of the way they are, because they were supposed to be my friends, but they're not my friends, you know. I just feel offended by their levels of friendship. You know, I know it isn't their fault, but I can't help being offended by it. It is a form of passive aggressiveness, not to be given support, especially by your friends when you know, asking for help for child rights. And so it is no surprise that, you know, people just aren't bothered about what is really going on. And at the end of the day, there's massive support out there for anyone who's expressing Islamic extremists, you know, hate against Islamic extremists, or Islamic extremists expressing hate against the West, or, you know, people generally just dissing all Jews. Very few people really standing with Jews, standing with Muslims, standing with Christians, in support of one another's humanity. It seems people overwhelmingly prefer to find refuge within the divisions and participate in, well, basically supporting the New World Order agenda, because that is exactly what they want. You know, the most powerful weapon that we have against their hate is our love for each other. That's it. And our love for, and our shared love for our children. And, you know, to stand together, to unite, and stand up for our human rights, stand up for our right to live in an intelligent world. And we're not living in an intelligent world. The world makes absolutely no sense unless you're a pedo-sadist, sado-fascist. Then it makes sense. If you're a pedo-sadist, fascist, sado-fascist, this world makes sense to you, because they're the ones that are profiting. The world is giving power to those people. But for people who are humane, who are just getting judged and stamped on, and casually disrespected, and you know, even by friends, and that is where it hurts the most, you know, because I can take the casual disrespect, the casual ignorance from the world at large, from all the ministers that I write to regularly, to all the childcare charities and childcare authorities in Britain that I write to regularly, to the BBC that I complain to regularly. You know, I can take ignorance off them. It's no more really what I expect. But facing it from friends and even family, it is hard, because it is more personal, and it is because, you know, I do love those people, and so therefore I feel that, you know, they're ignoring their own humanity. Because people like myself, what are we promoting? I'm not promoting myself, am I? I'm promoting our true humanity and our rights. And if even friends can't connect with that, it has been a source of deep upset. And like I say, there's just too much collusion going on behind the scenes. There's too many people being influenced by the lies, and it does get depressing at times. I mean, thank goodness that, you know, I have a few friends that do stand with me, and who I stand with, and people who are sharing just reality. You know, they're not trying to promote themselves, they're not standing for power or anything, or even asking for funding, or, you know, not even subscriptions. They're just genuinely are trying to help wake people up and to inform people about the truth. And I do ask people to please really get real, get informed, and don't be misled and fall for these you know, the propaganda, the various propagandas that are going around that do lead you people into hate. You know, anybody who who's trying to lead you to hate, then stay away from that. You know, hate the world, hate the actions, hate the criminal actions, but at the same time always promote the you know, the only solution, which is to unite and stand up for our rights.